Hey all, welcome back to my channel. Alright, so I am back with another book recommendation video. I am doing authors of color, so two of the authors are Black. One is of Arab descent and the other one is mixed, and she's mixed with East Asian and something else I'm not sure. But yes, if you watch my last book recommendation video, I did all books by Black female authors, and that went fantastic. And I would do more, but I currently have some that I haven't read yet, so I can't recommend the book until I've read it and decided on if I like it or not. So and a lot of my other books that I have read from Black female authors, they're already recommended. So now we're just branching out into authors of color. So we're gonna start. So we're starting with Instructions for Dancing, which this was a book that was kind of out of the comfort zone. I usually just read like fantasy fiction, that type, and this was more just romance. But I actually liked it, so I'm putting it here for us to talk about because it was really good. Evie Thomas doesn't believe in love anymore, especially after the strangest thing occurs one otherwise ordinary afternoon. She witnesses a couple kiss and is overcome with a vision of how their romance began and how it will end. After all, even the greatest love stories end with a broken heart eventually. As Evie tries to understand why this is happening, she finds herself at Labrie Dance Studio, learning to waltz, foxtrot, and tango with a boy named X. X is all that Evie is not: adventurous, passionate, daring. His philosophy is to say yes to everything, including entering a ballroom dancing competition with a girl he's only just met. Falling for X is definitely not what Evie had in mind. If her visions of heartbreak have taught her anything, it's that no one escapes love unscathed. But as she and X dance around and toward each other, Evie is forced to question all she thought she knew about life and love. In the end, is love worth the risk? So as you just heard, something happens to her where when she watches a couple kiss, she can see how they met, how the relationship started, and then how it will end, which plays like a really big part in kind of how she views love. And she gets put in some tricky situations with seeing certain people kiss and kind of figuring out like how she's going to deal with this, because honestly, if someone told you, oh yeah, I can watch couples kiss and see how their relationship plays out, would you actually believe them? So she has to deal with that. And then she also has a perception on love, especially based on her parents, and something happens with her parents that I would say ruins her perception on love. And she kind of just, I don't want to say spirals, but she goes down this path where she really doesn't believe in love. Like, it's not for her. All of her romance books that she has, she's donating them. Like, she doesn't want anything to do with love whatsoever. And by chance, she ends up at this dance studio and starts to take classes. She meets the boy X in their own weird little way, and comes to find out X has a relationship with people at the dance studio, and that's how they end up, entering this dance competition together. But along the way, she kind of falls for X, but at the same time, she's trying to figure out what love is and what she's had to look to for love. It's kind of weighing on her. And then again, something happens that kind of causes her to stray away. But it's really just Evie trying to figure out what love is, how to handle it, and everything like that. But it was really cute. It was also a very quick read. It's like not that many pages. Finished it in like 3 hours. So yes, Instructions for Dancing. Very good. And this was one of the books by a black female author. The next one I'm recommending is by another Black female author, A Song of Wrath and Ruins. And this is a series, a duology. And I've mentioned before, when I recommend one book from the series, I'm recommending the entire series. So there are 2 books, read the entire series. But chef's kiss, I love this. And this also kind of deals with like witches. This is my like fantasy fiction that I love. Kind of the usual of what I read, but I'll read it to you, then we can digest. For Malik, the Solstice Festival is a chance to escape his war-stricken home and start a new life with his sisters in the prosperous desert city of Zeran. But when a vengeful spirit abducts his younger sister Ahdieh as payment to enter the city, Malik strikes a fatal deal: kill Karina, crown princess of Zeran, in exchange for Ahdieh's freedom. But Karina has deadly aspirations of her own. Her mother, the Sultana, has been assassinated. Her court threatens mutiny, and Zulcia looms with a knife over her neck. Grief-stricken, Karina decides to resurrect her mother through an ancient magic, requiring the beating heart of a king. And she knows just how to obtain one, by offering her hand in marriage to the victor of the Solstice competition. When Malik rakes his way into the contest, he and Karina are set on a heart-pounding course to destroy each other, but as attraction flares between them and ancient evil stirs, will they be able to see their task to the death? Now, there's a lot we just discussed here. Okay, so homegirl, the crown princess, she's been going through it. Honestly, along with her mother being assassinated, she's also lost her older sister a while ago. So now the weight is really on her. And her older sister was definitely the favorite. So it's kind of like she's always in her sister's shadow. And with her mom being assassinated and things falling to her, it's just like a domino effect. And kind of starts spiraling like out of control. And Malik, he just wants a better life for him and his sisters, and he's actually the middle child, so he has an older sister than him and his younger sister. But because he's the only male, he feels like there's extra weight on his shoulders, so he's taking up his own kind of struggles as well. And as you heard, Malik rigs his way into the competition where Karina is offering her hand in marriage as the prize, because she needs a king's heart, because she's now queen. She needs a king's heart to resurrect her mother. Now, as this is all going on, Karina has very few people in her circle that she trusts. Even that causes problems. And now Malik is charading around as some other person, and he has this fake story and all of the above that, it works for him. It gets him where he needs to be. But as he's, in this competition, pretending to be someone he's not, he's also getting to know Karina in a way he didn't really think he would. And as you heard, like, he needs to kill her to get his sister back. But then he's starting to develop feelings for her, seeing her in a different light. And she does the same with him. But the thing is, she knows whoever wins the competition, she is going to have to kill them to bring her mother back. So it's like both of them are starting to see things turn in a way they didn't think they would. And they both have like right reasons to do what they need to do, but at the same time, it doesn't justify, what they're trying to do. But I mean, there is a lot weighing on both of them, and there's a substantial amount of betrayal from all sides. And I can't say too much because I'll spoil this book and start talking about the second book, and we can't talk about the second book right now. Yeah, we have to just talk about this one, you read this one, and then move on to the second one. But there is a lot of betrayal. There's hidden plans people have going on, secret groups. It's a whole lot going on. So with all of that, Karina is trying to lead her people in the best way that she can, dealing with the assassination of her mother, now holding the title of queen while trying to run the Solstice Games so she can bring her mother back. But now she's having, a love interest, which love always complicates these type of things. So she's dealing with a lot, and Malik is also, but they start having like moments together where walls come down, but that's also like a bad thing because then they realize certain things that they shouldn't, so it causes problems. But it's a very juicy series. Like, this is it. And this is the second book on the back, which it's been on my channel. If you go on book hauls, you'll see it on there. So yeah, this is the other one. Moving on, We Hunt the Flame. This is a duology as well, and this one is by the author who was of Arab descent. And as I've mentioned, once I recommend one, I'm recommending the entire series, and this is such a beautiful series. So let's dive into it. People lived because she killed. People died because he lived. Zephrina is the hunter, disguising herself as a man, and she braves the cursed forest of Ares to feed her people. Nasir is the prince of death, assassinating these foolish enough to defy his autocratic father, the sultan. If Zephrina is exposed as a girl, all of her achievements will be rejected. If Nasir displays his compassion, his father will punish him in the most brutal of ways. Both Zephrina and Nasir are legends in the kingdom of Araya, but neither wants to be. War is brewing, and the Ares sweeps closer to each passing day, engulfing the land in shadow. While Zephrina embarks on a quest to uncover a lost artifact that can restore magic to her suffering world and stop the Ares, Nasir is sent by the Sultan on a similar mission, retrieving the artifact and kill the hunter. But an ancient evil stirs as their journey unfolds, and the prize they seek may expose a threat greater than either can imagine. Set in a richly detailed world inspired by ancient Arabia, We Hunt the Flame is a gripping debut of discovery, conquering fear, and taking identity into your own hands. Okay, so as you heard, Zephrina, she has to disguise herself as a man because, sometimes women don't get the credit they deserve if they are women. Example, like when Mulan had to become a boy, and then when they found out she was a girl, they weren't having it. So Zephrina is basically dealing with that right now. So she goes on like quests to save her people, to feed her people, get them what they need, but she does it as a guy, and she has few people in her circle that actually know what she's doing. So it's not like she's kind of holding the weight on her shoulders completely alone. There are, few people that know what's happening. And then Nasir, he's honestly just in this trash situation where he's stuck with his father, the Sultan, who is absolute trash. Like, their relationship is nothing good. So he's doing what he's told from his father because that's really kind of all he knows. He lost his mother, so all he has is his father. He's an only child, no siblings. So what his father wants him to do? Kill. Whoever he says to kill, he has to kill. There are no objections when it comes to his father. Like, he can't object to his father or punishment comes on him. So to not get punished, he does exactly what his father says. So he has a very high track record for killing people. So that's why he is the Prince of Death. Wherever he goes, death follows. Wherever Zephrina goes, it's like cheering because she's bringing goodness to her people. So they're kind of like polar opposites. But Zephrina goes on this mission, and this mission could help her people. She's all for it. But Nasir is sent on a mission by his father to kill the hunter. No one knows that that the hunter is a female. So they're going on this mission thinking this is a guy. It's going to be slight work. It's going to be easy, no problems. But then, ding, 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 we have problems because Nasir ends up finding out the hunter is a huntress. And that kind of, for him, complicates things. But I also think, like, as Nasir was going, like, on this journey, he doesn't really like to kill people, so I think he was trying to find a way out of it. And then once he found out that the hunter was actually a huntress, Zafrina, he was, like, even more so not trying to kill her. But there are complications along the way. Let's, like, terrible things happen beforehand. But then they're on this quest, and the artifact still needs to be found, because that's, like, the key target on how both of them kind of ended up at the same place. And in a way, they both need each other, because certain reasons I can't say that will spoil it. But for a period of time, they need each other. So it's like a means to an end. So he technically really can't kill Zafrina at the time. But during this time period, they start to develop feelings. This is enemies to lovers. And Zafrina has walls built. Nasir has walls built. As they're kind of in this, like, time period of a means to an end for each other, they learn a little bit more. And I feel like Zafrina really learns about Nasir, because the only image portrayed of him is the Prince of Death. So kind of hearing his side and his story sheds light. But then also Nasir learns about Zafrina and why she has to be the hunter and can't be the huntress. But also on this whole journey, Zafrina is also learning how to embrace being, like, the huntress, because for a while Zafrina thought the huntress had a negative connotation, because then people would know she is a female and she wouldn't be respected. So she's learning to lean more into being a huntress and how that's actually, positive, and that probably people wouldn't care, because at the end of the day, she is looking out for her people and giving back to them, so it shouldn't matter what gender she is. So there's a lot of truth and discovery along the way, but also the betrayal, the lies. There's also, like, spies, people doing dirty work for other people, that's in here. And it's beautiful. It's chef's kiss. Chef's absolute kiss. And I can't say too much, because again, I'm recommending the entire series, so I can only talk about this book. And once you read this book, then you're gonna have to read the second one. And she's kind of thick. She's I mean, like, if you actually have the right motivation to sit down for a while, you can knock this out. It's around, like, 470 pages, or you could just split it up. So this is a beautiful one. We're actually on the last one now. That was actually kind of fast. So this is The Wrath in the Dawn. Another beautiful book. Also, this is another series. Just 2 books, a duology as well. And this is also kind of an Arabian Nights vibe book. As mentioned, We Hunt the Flame is Arabian Nights. This is also in that same, like, vibe. And this is the book by the author I was telling you, who's mixed. And she is mixed with East Asian. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure what else. But yeah, so I'm going to read really quickly about this, and then we can discuss. Khalid, the 18-year-old Caliph of Khorasan, is a monster. Each night he takes a new wife, only to have her killed by sunrise. Shahrazad is the first volunteer to become Khalid's bride. She vows to stop his reign of terror for the best friend she lost and for all those who perished before her. Incredibly, Shahrazad manages to survive her first morning, then the next. Night after night, she mesmerizes the Caliph with her storytelling, at once buying time and digging deeper into the elusive boy king's past. If Khalid is truly the murderous madman everyone says he is, how does Shahrazad find it easy to fall for him? Enemies to lovers, as you heard, I mean, he does kill her best friend. So, but there's more to it. So, Khalid, he takes a bride constantly. Everyone dies constantly. Why? No one knows. And at the same time, like, no one can object what he's doing because he's a caliph. And then Shahrazad is like, I'm going to volunteer because he killed my best friend. I want to find out why. And then I want to end his life. So her whole family like knows what she's doing. Some of them are backing her. Some of them aren't, because if things go sideways, then like she dies. So, and then she also has like somewhat of a lover, which I wouldn't really call it that, but there is this guy that is like madly in love with her, and she's kind of like just okay with him. I don't know. So he's like all heartbroken. She's going, but at the same time, her best friend was, I believe that was his sister or his cousin, something. So he's like supporting it, but then at the same time, it's like, I'm gonna miss you, da 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 da. But then she gets there, and she's, standoffish. She's kind of having like an attitude. It is what it is. But then she ends up telling him the story. But the catch is she doesn't finish the story. So she kind of leaves it up to him if he's going to kill her or not, or find out what happens with the story. And behold, she lives to see another day. And he goes back, obviously, to finish the story. But she just keeps telling stories, which there's a reason behind why he actually like listens to the stories, and that plays a big part as well, which you have to read to find out why. And there's also this big dreary secret on why he has to kill all these brides, which you learn in the first book, but like once you learn why, it all makes sense. I mean, obviously it doesn't like justify killing everyone, but there's a very, very good reason on why he's doing what he is. And if people knew that, they wouldn't like judge him as badly as they do. And so once Shahrazad finds that out, she's kind of like, oh, like she's getting to know him more, but then also like actually finding out why he does what he does. And then she kind of like feels bad for him. She's starting to fall for him. Like, she wants to be with him, and all is great. But as I told you, she had someone that's like madly in love with her already. And he's like, homegirl's been gone too long. I'm not really having this. So now he wants to rescue her, and as well as take down the caliph. And that causes problems, especially because at this point, when he does what he does, Shahrazad is already like in love with Khalid, and she doesn't want to leave him. She's learned about him, his past, why he is the way he is. She's in love with him. But as always, it takes a while before they can actually live in some type of happily ever after. So they are separated. There's like this big fight, explosion, wipeout thing that happens where they're separated, Khalid and Shahrazad. And obviously Shahrazad she's like upset, distraught, but she finds out something about herself. So while she's like away from him, she's trying to work on that, figure out what to do, like how she can get back to him, how she can discover what is within her. I can't say too much because it'll ruin it. And then at the same time, Khalid is he wants Shahrazad to be safe, but then he's also trying to find like an alternative way to fix kind of the predicament that he's in. And it's just amazing. And that's this book. So you have to read this beautiful book to continue the series and find out what happens between them. But it's a rocky road of enemies to lovers, but it's a beautiful finish. And this is another like quick read for 19 pages, so you can knock this out in a day or split it up. But yeah, so these are all of them are fairly quick reads that you can do, but also really good. And 3 out of 4 that I recommended are series. The first one I recommended, Instructions for Dancing, is a standalone. So you should open your pockets and go buy these books because they're amazing and they're gonna draw you in and you're gonna absolutely love them like I love them because they're beautiful. So again, I'm just gonna show all the books, but The Wrath and the Dawn, We Hunt the Flame, then A Song of Wrath and Ruin, and the first one, Instructions for Dancing. So those are all of my books that I'm recommending this time around. And again, once I read the books that I have, I can continue with recommending authors of color because, as I've mentioned, I have some. I just have to read them and then I can recommend them. So yeah, that's it. We're at the end of this video for this time around. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more, please hit the subscribe button down below. Peace and blessings, my loves.